Hello. Today we're going to talk about Christian spirituality. Many Christians have or had unnecessary sex lives because we Christians were taught that sex is not good and it was never explained to us why or why not. I went to Christian schools up to my junior year in high school when I got expelled. So I know that we were never taught sacred sex as a spiritual art form, a Holy Communion. Our sexual experiences and our religious experiences were separated, and we were not to talk about either one. So sex was looked at as a potential for pleasure that was not good for the soul. The problem is that not talking about sex does not diminish the mystery, the interest, or the attraction to have sex. Therefore, Christians do it, but feel guilty about it when they should be enjoying what God gave us. Sex can be a spiritual experience because it can take us beyond the mind and body to experience the soul. Sex is a part of nature, a part of the universe that is completely natural and enjoyable. So as Christians, we should learn about it and become comfortable with it. It is not just biological, but spiritual. So it is good for the soul. We don't have to renounce it or live a life of celibacy. But we can also have a sexual experience as a celibate, a spiritual experience. Our ministers should not be abusing young girls or women, and priests should not be abusing young boys. Sex is an energy that can become a spiritual force, but should not be forced on those that don't understand. I feel our ministers and priests enter their ministry as sincere seekers of the Spirit, but were not enlightened on spirituality. They could not live in a material world that is self-seeking, so they caved in to their selfish desires. Sacred sex is where spirituality loves and embraces the physical world, while aware of the divinity within our souls. With love, we can embrace our essence and unite our spirituality with our sexuality, an awareness that relaxes our body and reduces the space between two individuals. The unity or climax is beyond the mind, is temporary, but it gives us a preview of the unity Jesus was talking about with everything when he said, I and the Father are one. Everyone is searching for peace, love, and unity, and sex provides seekers all three, because when the ego is dissolved, the inner and outer is united between two people, as love brings peace. Wholeness is in our DNA and our divinity, not in our ego, which is about being separate. Therefore, with awareness, we are making love, and in the ego, we are having sex. The ego seeks continuous reactions from others to feel significant, so it seeks sex to feel important. But from the perspective of the soul, we are complete and whole, so don't have to be anybody. Our consciousness is healthy with an ego, so in our consciousness we can relax without trying to be somebody. Stop and think about it. We are already somebody, just being who we are in the moment, because we are at the consciousness of the soul. We have the DNA from our mother and also from our father, passing on attractions that go through many cultures, taking on many different forms. Therefore, making love is from the inside out, and it is on the inside where the sex energy becomes the spiritual force. It is easy to take off our clothes and have sex, but it is difficult to open up our consciousness of the soul and become one, united with everything. I had the DNA from my mother and father, a DNA that is expressed as male, but those male genes might have come from my mother or my father. The DNA that is not expressed is internal and intimate, also from my father and mother. It is the potential woman inside me. Therefore, there is a hypothetical woman inside every man and a potential man inside every woman. So uniting these two is another way to build a deeper bond and trust between male and female. As a celibate, you unite the male or female that is expressed with the male or female inside that is not expressed in our DNA. You are attracted to that woman, and by uniting it as a celibate, you can also have a spiritual experience. Our unity of life sees our own identity in all beings and looks on everything from an impartial, neutral soul. We seem to be attracted to that woman or man that resides in our DNA, that is not expressed, or the woman or man inside us. Making love is joining the male and female energies in one consciousness, expressing gratitude for life and the joys it brings. The unity can be with another, or if one is a priest, monk, or nun, living a life of celibacy, it is unity of the male and female inside them, not expressed, and the outside expressed. I lived as a monk and know that the beauty and wisdom of uniting the male and female energies in our consciousness enhances life by opening the heart and the mind with the ecstatic bliss of unity. As a married man with 2 children now, I know we can pass through the veil of illusion, duality, and separation in the mind by making love also, but also on our own if we so choose. Making love gives us a glimpse of the unity, love, and interconnectedness of life in the ecstasy in the present moment. This experience can be experienced by the monk, nun, or priest by uniting the male and female within their consciousness, or the married man or woman uniting 2 souls in one consciousness by living. It's a way of life. It's not just sex. It's a way of life. There are many different ways of life to recognize our true self, so we must be open to find the way. Only we know our mind trapped in our body. So we are the ones that have to drop the burden of our mind and experience the serenity and bliss of our true self, the soul. In the climax of sex, we get a taste of the soul by crossing the ocean of worldly existence, free from our attachments and our bondage. We can do this with sex or without sex, but if we are mindful, we can make the experience last longer because the soul will live forever. The soul is consciousness, eternal, formless, and free from fear, attachments, and conflicts, because it exists with or without our physical form. The soul is blissful, and bliss comes from the inside and can lift us to great heights, so it does not matter if we get there with celibacy or sacred sex. We go beyond our mind and body to relax in the serenity of the soul, and the freedom is bliss. If we identify with the body or mind, we carry the burden of frustration that traps our soul. We believe others control our destiny and then project our entangled mental frustrations on them. Examples of this are churches with collective sexual frustrations and insecurities, projected on others, acting like fools around gays, condemning them, sending them to hell. God is not homophobic, and He created everything, so we can rejoice within. It does not matter if we are gay, straight, or celibate. The real challenge is to overcome our anger, pride, greed, attachments, hate, and not to project them on other people, whether we like them or not. This is what imprisons our soul, our freedom, bliss, and tranquility. So clear them up in the mind and receive perfect perception, perfect love, and perfect bliss. Our soul is the abode of life and unity. It is free from conflict and the delusions of hate and fear, because it is consciousness, eternal, formless to the senses, but eternal and blissful to spirit. We are particles of God, which is everything in a unitive experience where God is behind all phenomena. Therefore, we grow from the inside out. We get small experiences of this unity, seeds planted in our mind, and then we desire more, and the spiritual experience expands in the soul to become a flower. The spiritual viewpoint opens up in the present moment, no matter what we are doing. Playing basketball, playing music, making love, watching a good movie, enjoying music. So be aware and enjoy living life. Thomas Aquinas said, "Man cannot live without joy. Therefore, when he is deprived of true spiritual joys, it is necessary that he become addicted to carnal pleasures." Sex is a carnal pleasure, but it is also an introduction to spiritual joy if we are mindful of our spiritual identity. This connection to spirit, our highest self, is not an idea, a religion, a sex act, but a way of being in bliss. We're not trying to fix ourselves, but just be who we really are in the groove of being spiritual. It is more than our mind, because it is beyond the mind and ego, as our true self relaxes in the spaciousness of the spiritual expanse. This collective consciousness results in the peace and stability in our life that expands to others with a sense of freedom. It is not a new approach that increases, it is a new approach that increases our awe in things because it is not pounded into us, but comes from inside. It is not a religion, a rigid path, but a relaxing in love, peace, and happiness, resting in the present moment. It enables our consciousness to use our full being to radiate happiness and love to others and fellow human beings, while increasing harmony in the conscious field around us. This happens by bringing the subtle levels of thought from the deeper levels of existence to the conscious level, consequently becoming aware of the energy in all regions and levels of creation, both subtle and gross. Increasing familiarity with the deeper levels of existence allows us to become comfortable and happy at any level in a suitable atmosphere for our virtues to flourish.